achieved.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Studio Day Jeffrey. It is nice to see you guys. And we've got some really big news for the Cowboys that broke yesterday at about 7 p.m. that we're going to have to talk about right out of the gate. But we got a few things we're going to do today. Number one, talk about how the Cowboys won the NFC East on June 15th of 2020. It's a weird date to win the NFC East, but I think the Cowboys probably just did it. And then we will talk Cowboys sack projections because that is something that somebody left in the comments yesterday. And that's the rules around here. You leave in the comments what you want to talk about tomorrow, and I'll try to take care of you. YouTube.com/Jeff Kavanaugh. Just subscribe. Make sure that you turn on the notifications. I don't know why I took the mic out and then put it immediately back in. I was going to go all willy-nilly today, but I changed my mind. So the huge news yesterday, and this qualifies as huge, massive news. Brandon Brooks, Philadelphia Eagles right guard and perennial Pro Bowler and one of the best guards in football, tore his Achilles, so he won't be playing football this year. Now that's if anybody plays football this year. I'm going Mike out. I'm going for it. So Brandon Brooks is not going to be playing football this year, and Brandon Brooks is one of the best guards in the NFL. And if you were on the channel the other day when I went through the Cowboys doomsday scenario and like the 5 guys you couldn't afford to lose if you're the Cowboys, obviously it starts with the quarterback. So like if you're doing that with the Eagles, the guys they couldn't afford to lose, Carson Wentz, number 1. Although when they had Nick Foles, it worked out okay. Maybe it'll work out okay again. But after him, where do you go with the Eagles? The guys you can't afford to lose. I don't think it's, say, Fletcher Cox, because now they have Javon Hargrave. They added Malik Jackson, right? Like they've got depth at defensive tackle. So I don't think it would necessarily be a defensive lineman that would be a guy that could torpedo the season for them. Even like Zach Ertz is incredible, right? But Dallas Goedert's really good too. So if they lost a tight end, all right, we go 11 personnel. If they lost a wide receiver, none of them stand out enough to be the guy. But Alshon, he probably won't play. Deshaun Jackson, Marquise Goodwin, Jalen Reagor, like they went a certain direction with speed, but if you lost one of those guys, not the end of the world. So for them, I think it's the offensive line. I think it's the guys they could not afford to lose are Jason Kelce, their center, Lane Johnson, the right tackle, and Brandon Brooks, and the quarterback. And they just lost. If you don't keep up with the Eagles the same way that you do the Cowboys, I know a lot of people are a fan of the Cowboys, then everybody else is secondary. But if you're not keeping up in that way, how good do you think Zach Martin is? You think Zach Martin's really, 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 really good? Brandon Brooks is about the same. That's what the Eagles just lost yesterday for the season. So it's rare to win a division in June, but I think the Cowboys are off to a great start at winning the war of attrition with the Eagles being down a phenomenal player, and that is big-time news for the Cowboys. One of the top 5 players on the Eagles will not be playing football this year. Now, this is the same team that overcame missing a lot to still win the division a year ago. Only difference is the Cowboys won't be on the wrong side of variance. The Cowboys aren't this year going to have a whole bunch of different coaches that are inept, can't get along with their best players, don't know what they're doing, unqualified for the job. Hopefully the Eagles won't have that gift to go along with all the adversity they overcame a year ago to win the NFC East. So tough break there for the Eagles. Bad news for the Eagles equals good news for the Cowboys. Not that I'm celebrating that man's injury. I would never do that. Especially because I believe Brandon Brooks is a guy who is open about his mental health situations and struggles. So therefore, Brandon Brooks and I, we are family. And I love Brandon Brooks. But I want him to be as mentally healthy and powerful, strong and great as possible in his day-to-day life. But the fact that he can't help the Eagles win, that's okay. Brandon, think about the big picture. Don't worry about football, okay? You could retire if you wanted to. Achilles is a big thing, you know. You and I, we go to group therapy together. We get our stuff together. By the way, there was a guy who asked me on the YouTube. We're going to do the Cowboys sack projections player by player here in a second, but there was a guy who asked me, in all seriousness, Sean, he said, can you do a little minute or two on how you handle depression? And the answer is mornings suck. Nighttime sucks a lot. I have an addiction that I lean on in tobacco, which I'm trying to quit because I realize that that's a problem. But books are great. Therapy's great. I have therapy every Thursday, and a lot of times I'll leave that feeling pretty empowered and positive. But I struggle. Great books. Brene Brown, is it Brene Brown? The Gifts of Imperfection is a book that I'm working through right now. And then there's other books that I'm working on, individual things that have to do with, but whatever. Meditation apps, really cool. 10 minutes of meditation can be really helpful. My problem is doing the things. Like I know some of the things that'll help. Get out of the house, get moving, make your video this morning. Go. But I struggle to just go a lot of the time. So I don't have all the answers, not even close, but I can tell you that go outside, pick up books, and find a therapist. Okay, now who asked about the old sacky poos? Here we go. This is from Zane. How many sacks will our D-line have next year? Please include the individual number of sacks per player. Well, to do that, you're going to have to bear with me while I pull up the 2019 stats, so I have a baseline to work with here. 2019 Dallas Cowboys stats. Here we go. The tough part about this is going to be, what am I doing with Randy Gregory? Is he going to be reinstated? Is he going to play 16 games or no games? You're setting me up to fail here, Zane. All right, hold on. Scrolling down. Last year. Excuse me. Last year. Sacks. Okay. They're not going to do the math for me? Yeah, they did the math for me. All right. Wow, the Cowboys had 39 sacks last year. That's pretty good. All right, so our baseline is going to be somewhere around 40, give or take. I will start with Tank Lawrence. How many sacks will Tank have? Last year, would he have 5? Last year, he had 5. Tank will have... DeMarcus Lawrence will have 11 sacks this year. He's going to get better help on the interior. Variance, again, which I know can be a scary word, but variance will not work against him with the amount of pressures that he got last year. He still should have had double-digit sacks, just didn't play out for him. So I'll say 11 for Tank. And this has always been my problem. Who is going to be second on the Cowboys in sacks? Okay. You guys ready? This might be optimistic here. I'm going Aldon Smith, 7.5 sacks. Aldon Smith, 7.5 sacks. Okay, we good with that? Everybody squared away with that? Let's see. Last year, Malik Collins had 4. Michael Bennett had 4. Jordan Lewis had 4. They like to blitz Lewis. Will he start this year? Just for fun, I'll say Jordan Lewis is going to get good playing time this year. Let's give Jordan Lewis 2.5. Okay? Gerald McCoy, if... where you at, Malik Collins? Malik Collins had 4 last year. Gerald McCoy will have 6. Gerald McCoy, 6 sacks. DeMarcus Lawrence, 11. Aldon Smith, 7.5. Jordan Lewis, 2.5. Dontari Poe will have 2.5. Let me make sure that I'm not shorting the man. He's never gotten a bunch, has he? Dontari Poe? No. 4, 1, 2.5, 1.5, 1. Yeah, 2.5 is fine. All right, 2.5 for Dontari Poe. Gerald McCoy. Let me get Tyrone Crawford. 4.5. Got you there. Okay, so that's both starting D tackles plus Tyrone Crawford and Aldon Smith. That's Tank Lawrence. Joe Jackson, Dorrance Armstrong, Randy Gregory. Who is that going to be? We'll come back to that. Jalen Smith had 2.5 last year. I'm going to give Jalen Smith 3.5. I'm going to say they have him coming forward more often and playing coverage less. They blitz him more. I'm actually going to give him 4.5 because I think that he's going to blitz a lot more. Sean Lee had 1 a year ago. If I'm saying Van Der Esch is going to be healthy, let's just throw LVE 2 sacks. No problem there. Xavier Woods last year had none. Jeff Heath had none. You had none from safety. I don't buy that. Let's just throw Clinton Dix 1.5. Xavier Woods 0.5. Give him 0.5. I think he'll be your deep guy more often, but we'll see. Who am I missing there? Cheeto, no sacks. Trayvon Diggs, no sacks. Anthony Brown, just throw him 1. You know what I'm saying? Anthony Brown, 1 sack. Did I do Sean Lee? Sean Lee / other random linebackers, 2. And that includes Joe Thomas and whoever else plays randomly a little bit. Gregory's so hard to guess. Here's the way I'm going to do this. I'm going to go Gregory, Joe Jackson, Dorrance Armstrong, a.k.a. the random defensive ends that I don't know who's playing how many snaps yet. We'll see. I'm going to give that group of guys 5. Like, that's your Dorrance had 2 last year. Kerry Hyder had 1. Christian Covington had 1. Darian Thompson had 1.5. So I'm just giving, those are my randos that are going to get those. And we are missing who? I got your top 3 defense. Oh, Neville Gallimore. 3. 3 for Neville Gallimore. All right, let's see. I bet this is way optimistic, and we're going to have to do a lot of adjusting. I bet I'm about to come out with like 55 sacks or something stupid like that. 11 plus 7.5 is 18.5 plus 2.5. What was I at? 18.5, so that's 19. It's 21, and 6 is 27, and 2.5 is 29.5, and 4.5 is 34, 38.5, 40.5, 41.5, 42, 43, 44, 45, 50. Yeah, I just gave him 53.5 sacks. All right, let's start cutting people down here. Jordan Lewis, you're down to 1.5. Well, no, you get 2 sacks. Gerald McCoy, let's bring you down to 5. Dontari Poe, 1.5. Tyrone Crawford, 4. Jalen Smith, 4. Van Der Esch, 1. Clinton Dix, 1. Xavier Woods had none last year. I'll give him none again. Neville Gallimore, let's drop you to 2. No, I like you at 3. I think that's the right number. Random defensive ends down to 4. How'd we do? Okay, that puts me at 9, 10, 12, 16, 20, 27, 34.5, 35.5, 36, and 11 is 47. Let's check the 2019 team sack leaders and see if 47 could be realistic. Clicky, clicky. Sacks. Oh, yeah. 47 would put you tied for 7th in the league. You got a good offense. You may get to rush quarter. Yeah, sure, we'll go with it. Official sack predictions for the Cowboys. Tank Lawrence, 11. Take this half away from Alden Smith. Alden Smith, 7. Gerald McCoy, 5. Tyrone Crawford and Jalen Smith, 4. Jordan Lewis, 2. Dontari Poe, 1.5. Van Der Esch, 1. Clinton Dix, 1. Anthony Brown, 1. Sean Lee, 2. The random defensive ends, Randy Gregory, Joe Jackson, Dorrance Armstrong, 4. Neville Gallimore, 3. Bam. And if I missed somebody, I'm very, very sorry. That's all the time I got today because I got a tea time. You know, you got to find your joy somewhere. I'm going to find my joy in being really bad at golf on a terrible course here in just a bit, okay? It's the way you make it affordable. Leave in the comments what you want to talk about tomorrow, okay? You control the content here in Studio Day, Heffrey Day, Quarantine. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube page, youtube.com/Jeff Kavanaugh. And turn on the notifications. Don't miss a video, all right? Love you guys.